This is Support is Sexy, episode 74, and today we're going to keep it moving. Welcome to the Support is Sexy podcast. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, producer, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I talk to women entrepreneurs who share their journeys and the true stories of their wins and their lessons, and give you insight and inspiration to take your business and your life to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm so happy to have you here. You know, it just would not be the same without you. Okay, so today's episode is called Keep It Moving because I have had quite an interesting past couple of days. It feels like it's been a week, but it honestly has just been the past couple of days. And my website went down, elaynefluker.com. It started, I guess, day before yesterday. Like I said, it feels like it's been a week, so I don't even know what day it is anymore. But it started late in the evening. Of course, I was working on the podcast, had trouble logging in. Then I had trouble bringing up the site at all. Then it was completely a white page when you went to the website. As you can imagine, I was upset and nervous because I give that website out all the time. It is where I tell people to go to connect with me. It's where all of you go. I hope to see other episodes of the podcast. It was down and I did not know what to do. I know a lot about technology and, of course, from the content side, but I'm no developer. I don't go into the back end and figure out what's going on and fix things. So I wanted to talk about keeping it moving in business, but honestly in life in general, and a few ways that when things like this come up that feel out of our control or where we feel personally out of control, some things we can do to keep it moving and really not allow it to drive us crazy. Now, of course, it might stress us out a little bit, but still, I think even in that, there are ways for us to keep ourselves even, sane, and healthy during times like that. So what I learned from this experience, the first thing is don't panic. It's going to be okay, which is usually the first step most of us go to. We panic immediately. Of course, now I will admit when I saw the website was down, there was a wave of panic that sort of rushed through my body. Maybe it wasn't panic. There was an adrenaline rush through my body, which honestly was panic. And I had this feeling of what am I going to do? What's going to happen? Automatically, I started spiraling down into all the reasons that this was a disaster. People going to the website, not being able to see things. And I've talked about these free resources and how are people going to access them and on and on and on, all these other things of how this is so terrible, really being on the ledge and just ready to jump, right? But in those times when those things happen, again, it's natural to have a response, whatever that response is in that moment where you're either upset, panicked, worried about what could happen. But what I did is not do anything right away. Don't rush to make a decision about anything. Don't rush into anything emotional. I didn't post everywhere in the world and tell everybody it was going on because honestly, I believe in mind over emergency. You know how people say mind over matter? I believe in mind over emergency. For example, if I had gone out and posted everywhere on social media that my site is down, I don't know what to do, I'm so nervous. Now, if you're doing it with the intention of soliciting some help or support from people who might know more than you do about whatever the topic is, sure, of course. If you're doing it from a space of just complaining and giving more energy to this problem, I believe it becomes a bigger problem. So me, for example, one of the things I did do was post in certain groups of people who I thought could help and provide support. So I'm in a podcasting group, for example, called Podcasters Paradise. I told them what was going on with my site, but mainly I was asking them for other options of where to link if the site is down and you want to tell people about your new episodes and those kinds of things. So I asked them a question specifically around the podcast, but still it was one of the concerns that I was thinking about. Obviously, I also emailed my developer and said, hey, this is what's going on. I don't know. Can you help me? Now, the team that I work with, which is fantastic, they're in Costa Rica, so it wasn't going to be necessarily a real-time response, and it was in the middle of the night. So I had to wait, but I still sent them an email, give them some time to look at it, see what happens. I also emailed my hosting company to find out what was going on, if there was any problem or maintenance or those kinds of things. So not to get too technical about it, but these are examples of ways that you can keep your mind focused and have it be mind over emergency, looking for a solution instead of giving more and more energy to the problem. Another thing to do an assessment, look into it. Like I said, I did some outreach to different people, but I also looked at the website to see if there was anything I may have done, a user error, see if there was anything I may have done to cause a problem. What is this? What happens when I go to this page, that page? Just really do an assessment of whatever your emergency is. Again, I'm talking about my situation of having my site going down, but for you, it might be something else. Really do an assessment and look at it and see what the damage is. Think of if you, God forbid, were to have a car accident. You'd want to look at the damage and assess what that damage is. Or if anything else happened, look at it, assess what the damage is. So you really know, in other words, what you're dealing with. And you're not just going off the panic that has escalated in your mind and made it far worse than it might need to be. The next thing is, and you know, we're all about this around here, tap into your support network. So as I mentioned, I reached out to that group that I'm in. I reached out to my developer. I reached out to the hosting companies. Now, I will say there's that period, though, you know, that terrible waiting period when you're waiting for someone to get back to you and it's just you and this issue that you have. No one's getting back to you right away, but you have to rest assured in the fact that you reached out to people and they will show up and they will support you. But your thing is reaching out for support, again, not to blow up the problem or give more energy to the problem because it's mind over emergency, but you want to give energy to finding a solution. So even if when you're reaching out to someone for support, even if that person or group doesn't know, it may lead you to someone else. Actually, let's say it will lead you to something else, whether it triggers something in your own mind to figure out what to do, or people give you a contact for someone to reach out to or a service or whatever it is to support you in that moment. So make sure you tap into your support network. Actually, first, make sure you have a support network around anything. You know, we're all about that. You need to have a support network around whatever you're doing, business or personal life, people you can call in moments like these when things are not going exactly as you expected, or you have a big boo-boo and your website goes down. Another thing, which is the name of this episode, keep it moving. I have to tell you, along with, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, my website going down, the next day when I got up, my internet was down. So I couldn't get access to go back online other than from my phone, which took forever, which was like needles in my eye, to get online to see what was going on, what the updates were, to do any updates that I needed to do, like posting a new episode and that kind of thing. So my episodes that would normally go up in the early hours of the morning did not, because I couldn't get online. So what did I do? Did I sit at home and just wait for the cable company or whoever to come fix it or figure out the problem and that kind of thing? No, I woke up the next morning, went to a local cafe, and I worked from there, and I got the episode up and posted that so at least people can download it there, even though I couldn't put all of the information that I usually put on the website at the time because my website was down. So, you know, one thing goes wrong, seems like everything goes wrong, right? But I did it from there. I did what I had to do. I worked from there. I kept it moving. And that's what you have to do when a situation comes up, whether it's some kind of emergency or issue, as I said, with your business, in your personal life. How can you keep it moving? How can you prevent it from stressing you out too much, even though there may be some stress with it? And I certainly admit that I was a little stressed. I mean, it's funny because while I was working at that cafe, I saw an email from a friend and former colleague who was in town hosting an event in Harlem. I live in Brooklyn right now, and the event was in Harlem. So it was about an hour away. I didn't see it earlier, but I saw it then. And of course, in that moment, did I feel like going? Not at the time because of what was going on and what I was worried about. But there was a part of me that thought, you know what? I've done the work that I needed to do today. This was in the evening. I could continue to keep working and keep worrying really about this thing, or I could go to this event, see this person who doesn't live in town anymore, connect with other women who were there, which I did, and it was fantastic. And it was at the Harlem Skincare Clinic. It was actually a place I wanted to go anyway, so it made sense for me to get up, close the laptop, get on the train, go up there, be with some people, not sit alone by myself worried about this problem while I wait to hear back. So find a way to keep it moving, not only in your work or the things that you have to do, but also in connecting with people or finding a way, you know what it is? Find a way to keep smiling. Whatever that problem is, I know it could be terrible. It feels terrible. You know, it might be something much bigger than a website going down. For me, that felt like the end of the world. It wasn't. But you might be going through something even, tougher at this time. Find a way to keep smiling and to mean it. Not the false smile, even though, sometimes we do have to stomach those, but really keep smiling and mean it because you still have something to be happy about. You still have something to be proud of. You're working on something positive. You're doing something positive. So find a reason to keep smiling. Another thing is don't sweat the outcome. You have to trust it and keep moving. Like I said, reach out to your support network, reach out to all the resources you can. If you can't figure out a way in that moment, trust that it will come. Now, some things might need to be figured out more urgently than others, but still, even then, trust that the solution will come. Reach out, do what you can as much as possible to get the answers, but then don't sweat the outcome. So meaning, of course, I wanted to get my website back up, but I didn't sweat that it needed to be back up right away and I got to get it up in the next 5 minutes or else all of these made up things that had not happened, I would imagine happening. Like everyone's going to abandon everything and no one's going to be there and no one's ever going to be able to find it. You can just go into, again, this spiral of what could possibly happen because this one thing has gone wrong, but don't sweat it. The outcome will be the outcome. You're doing your best to try to make it happen, to try to fix this thing. It's funny, I mentioned that because when I went to that event at the spa in Harlem, I got a mini massage, which was lovely. And the woman, does one side, then she did the other. And I carry a lot of stress. I've known this. People have told me, other people where I've gotten a massage have told me on the left side of my body. So when she got to that side, of course, I was a little bit more stressed than normal, even though I was smiling. Stressed a little bit more than normal on the left side. And she asked what was going on. And I was going to tell her the whole story. And I just said, oh, some things in business and left it something like that. Something that didn't give it too much energy, acknowledged that I was going through this problem, but she helped me figure it out. She gave me these little titanium things too that you put in your ear and you're supposed to press them. I don't know, your pressure points to relieve stress. I'm willing to try anything. So I have those in my ears. If you see me walking around pressing on those, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to be chill and relax, get a little zen there. But in any case, one, I kept it moving. I ended up getting this great treat, being at the spa, being able to relax for a little bit, getting a massage, being able to acknowledge, hey, this thing is going on, but give me something that'll help me relax and to get through it. But I didn't sweat the outcome, worry about it in that moment, kept it moving. Another thing to remember, it could always be worse. Now, we don't want to do that in the way of sometimes people compare themselves to other people and say, well, look at them. At least I'm not like them. I don't believe in doing that because one, you could one day be like that person. You never know. But also, it's not a positive thing to do. I just don't think that brings good karma. But you can acknowledge, even to yourself, whatever is going on, this could always be worse. Now, for me, like I said, website going down, when that's what one of your primary focuses of your business is, yes, that feels pretty bad, but it could always be worse. Another thing I did, I started doing this maybe a few months ago because something similar has happened to me in the past few years. In the moment when I was so upset and I felt like I couldn't get answers and I didn't know what to do, and I did admittedly have a little bit of panic. This was the previous time. What I remembered that time and said this time was, this is not the first time this has happened to anyone. I am not the first person in the history of mankind that this has happened to. I'm sure these companies or people that I've reached out to have seen this before. I'm going to trust that they know what they're doing. You are not the first one. You are not the first one. You are not the first one. This is an example in business where it pays not to be first. So I kept telling myself that you are not the first person that this has happened to. Even if they say, oh, we've never seen anything like this before. But there are specialist people, again, because it depends on your support network. So you have to trust they're going to figure this out, even if they've never seen it before. But I still believe I'm not the first person that this has happened to. So I'm not going to act like this is the end of the world. Someone, if not me, will be able to figure this out. And to piggyback on that, the other thing to know is to know that it will get better. No matter what you're facing, you may not know how to fix it in the moment. You may not know exactly how you're going to keep it moving and move forward. You may not know how someone else is going to help you to fix it, but know that it will get better. You work hard, you're smart, you have dreams and a goal. You're trying to make things happen. You're trying to create something sexy out there in the world. It will get better. You're supposed to win. The universe is on your side. I believe wants you to win, especially if you're out there hustling, trying to make things happen, whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. You're out there trying to create something positive. The universe wants you to win. So some of this resistance, as I've talked about before, this resistance actually makes you stronger. How are you going to deal with these moments, whether they're small now or they feel huge? How are you going to deal with these moments? Because things like this are going to come up. Even if not specifically this, things will come up. Know that it will work out. You will figure it out. You will get help around it. You deserve this. You can make it happen. This is honestly things that I said to myself. This is going to work out. I'm going to figure this out. I have people to help me. I'm not in this alone. I'm not the first person this has happened to. This is going to work out. And the last thing I will say, give yourself a break. I have to tell myself that quite a lot because it's easy to fall into this idea of beating yourself up, especially if, the mistake or whatever happened is your fault. This wasn't my fault, I will say. But even if it were, even if I had done something wrong, okay, I made a mistake and I made the website go down. I wouldn't know how to do that. But if that were the case, it is what it is. If you made a mistake in whatever you're doing, it is what it is. Okay, keep it moving. How am I going to fix this and keep smiling? What is the way that I can get around this thing? What is the way that I can continue to do other things while this is being figured out? So if that is the case and you made a mistake or someone else made a mistake, whatever happened, it's okay. It will get better. Give yourself a break. And a break also means stepping away because, again, I do a lot of work late at night. I'm trying to get out of that habit, but I still right now do a lot of work late at night. So when all this happened, I could easily have tried to stay up all night and figure it out myself. I don't know how, but I could have certainly done that or waited for someone to get back to me and that kind of thing. Instead, I shut everything down and I went to bed. I do a lot of work here in my home office, so it was easy enough for me to do that. The key is, though, do not beat yourself up. As we say, no beat ups around here. It's not allowed. We are not allowed to do that, even if we make a mistake. So if that method is going to bed, as I did, or it's taking a walk, or meditating, or taking a nap even. I've had moments, in fact, this is what happened today. I crashed in the middle of the day once everything was fit. And I think, honestly, because my body finally let all of that tension and everything go. So I had some interviews this morning and some other things to do and moved out some furniture because I'm moving and all of that is going on and trying to get that taken care of. A lot of things to do today. Early in the evening, crash. I allowed it. Give yourself a half hour. If you have to take a nap or if you have to take a walk or whatever it is, breathing space, which I've also talked about on here at 5:30, actually every day. I don't take a nap every day at 5:30, but 5:30 every day. Give yourself breathing space. I have an alarm that goes off on my phone that literally says breathing space. Today, that breathing space was a nap because I was going to come back to the computer here in my home office, start working again, start posting again, start recording again. I needed a break. And honestly, sometimes we say push through, push through. There might be times for a project or a deadline or some things where you need to do that. But for me, when you can take a break, put some space in there, things come out better because you come back with a fresh mind, in my case, a fresh mind and a fresh voice. You're not straining or pushing or sounding tired. Your energy is better and that kind of thing. So give yourself a break, whatever that break looks like. I gave myself a break and now I'm back here recording this all for you. And in fact, it was during that break that I thought of this idea. You know what? Now I'm going to tell everyone what happened and tell everyone how I got through this moment. So I hope this is helpful. And, now you can let me know. My website is back up. Go to ElayneFluker.com and leave me a message or tell me or email me Elayne@ElayneFluker.com. That was always working. Also, you can see previous episodes of Support is Sexy at supportissexypodcast.com. But again, just remember, keep it moving when things go wrong. Figure it out. You'll get help. You'll get support. You'll get what you need in order to make things happen. But don't let it stop you. This is just, as we always say, no is just a part of the process. This resistance is just a part of the process. But you have to keep going, keep working through it. Be committed to whatever it is you're making happen. But don't be tied up in what it looks like or what the outcome is going to be or that kind of thing, because things happen. You're not the first person this error, mistake, disaster, whatever it feels like in that moment has happened to. There are ways that you can get through it. Don't give it too much negative energy or don't feed into the negative energy of whatever it is. Remember, mind over emergency. It will get better. And lastly, give yourself a break. You deserve a break, and you deserve a little bit of applause because, hey, you made it through whatever that is. All right. So thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate you guys, and you know what to do. Go out there and create something sexy, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.